I'm going to show you how the Dinky cat goes together. As you can see, the Dinky cat sail kit consists of a front assembly, which is a U-shaped frame, and a rear crossbar that bolts onto the motor mount fittings and back. So let's take a look at the front assembly. That U-shaped frame consists of a telescoping side rail on each side, so we can adjust the length of this side rail to exactly fit between the front crossbar and the oar locks. And the telescoping action takes place right here, and it's locked or unlocked by tightening or loosening these star knobs that also hold on the leeboard mount. And we'll explain more about that later. So the side rail is strapped through a hole at the end of the side rail underneath the oar lock. See how this rotates? Well, there's a little space under there, and you can scooge the strap under that space to secure the end of the side rail to the oar lock. It's a little difficult, but if you work this back and forth as you push the strap, you'll get it through. Now at the front, a U-bolt at the corner clamps the side rail to the front crossbar, and it is secured to the boat by means of two straps on each side. One strap goes through the bow handle diagonally across that joint between the side rail and the front crossbar, and you tighten that down like that, and that'll keep this corner of the frame from sliding this way and that way. In addition, to hold it down securely, you do another short strap around the front crossbar and through this D-ring that's at the bow. The other side is exactly the same. In the middle, we have the mast step, which is just this little socket that receives the mast, and that is clamped to the front crossbar in the middle by means of these ring nuts. And you only hand tighten these. Do not use tools on these. You hand tighten that on each side to clamp the mast step to the front crossbar. The lee boards can be conveniently removed without having to twist these star knobs just by pressing this button and pulling. Okay, when you put it back together to go sailing, be sure that the button pops up fully in that hole so you don't lose your lee board in the ocean. So that's the front assembly. Here's the rear crossbar. Its length is also adjustable by means of spring buttons that can pop up at any one of this series of holes. I'm using the second hole from the end on each side. And then it is bolted to the boat by these long bolts that go through the motor mount fittings and then up through the rear crossbar. Big washer on the bottom, little washer on the top, and star knob. This is the socket for the steering oar, and you can adjust its position, and then you tighten it by means of that star knob clamp right there on it. You could just put it in the middle and clamp it there and leave it there. I like to move it. When I'm sitting on this side of the boat, I want it farther from me, so I move the socket over here. And when I'm sitting on that side of the boat, I do the opposite. I slide the socket over here and then retighten it. These star knobs on the bolts that attach the rear crossbar to the boat should be tightened down firmly, pressing this against the air chamber as it pulls up from the motor mount fitting. So that's the basic story of how the sail kit is attached to the boat. Two bolts back here, and 6 short straps, 2 at the ends of the side rails and 2 at each corner up front to attach the sail kit to the boat. There's one more short strap here, and that's to make sure you don't lose your steering oar in the drink. So that strap is going through the oar pin where it clamps to the shaft of the oar, underneath the shaft of the oar, and then it's just going around the rear crossbar or around the sliding oar pin socket and loosely tighten it. You don't have to make it super tight, just enough to make sure that you're not going to lose the steering oar entirely in the water. The oar pin clamps to the oar. You put the blade vertical and then you clamp this on. And I like the position that's about a foot up from the joint. See, the oar comes apart here in the middle, and up about a foot from there, I put the oar pin. And that gives me a pretty good arrangement on the steering oar, but you may find you want to have it a little farther this way or a little farther that way once you start getting used to it all. Let me give you a little more detail on the side rails. I've got another one here. It's not on the boat, and we'll just bring it over here to discuss it. So here's the side rail, just like the one on the boat here. It's got this U-bolt in the front. Now you never have to take this U-bolt apart again. When you're assembling the kit to go sailing, you just loosen this enough so that you can slide the front crossbar in there, and then you tighten it again. You don't have to take the U-bolt completely apart. Now here at the telescoping joint that allows the length adjustment to take place on the side rail, on the underside of it, notice there's this slot. This is an important feature. The U-bolt that attaches the leeboard mount, this is the leeboard mount, this part of that U-bolt has to nestle in that slot. And that does 2 things. One, it holds the leeboard mount perpendicular to the side rail, because with that in the slot, it can't go anywhere like that. And the other thing it does is when you tighten these star knobs on top of the leeboard mount, it pulls that U-bolt tight against the inner sliding portion of the side rail, locking that sliding action. So once you've got this set to the length that's appropriate for the boat, and you tighten these star knobs, that U-bolt is going to press down on the intersection going through that slot and lock the telescoping action. And you can see that on this one that's on the boat. See how the U-bolt is nestled in that slot? Make sure yours is like that. The oars. Nice to have the oars at the ready as an alternate means of propulsion. So they go on here, the blade goes forward, and then we'll give you another pair of short straps so that you can secure the blade section up out of the way. You don't want that dipping in the water when you're sailing. Now let me show you how we raise and lower the sail. I'm going to put this back on the tripod. So this rope here is called the halyard. And we've tied the halyard around the front crossbar to secure it. I'm untying it now so that I can lower the sail. All right. So when I'm putting the boat together, take the halyard, I put it through the eye at the top of the mast. There's the mast slide on the boom. I'm going to put the mast bottom through the mast slide. I'll tip it over so you can see it going through, and then the mast goes down into the mast step. And I pull down on the halyard, and that raises the sail. And I probably have to reach down and help the mast slide get started up the mast in order to finish raising the sail. Once I've got it raised, I tie the halyard to the front crossbar. I folded the rope over, and I'm tying a double half hitch with the folded rope. Now the sheet line for controlling the angle of the sail runs through the pulley at the middle of the boom, and then you tie it to something on the boat. And the other end goes to your hand. See? So that gives me 2-to-1 mechanical advantage, and the sail can go either way. This end I hold on to, that end is secured to the boat. And that's the story of how the Dinky cat goes together.